1994, residents of a quiet market town in the south of England were participants of a national experiment. A scheme to have locally run television stations across the country was being put to the test. BTV3 became popular in the area, and the channel earned a cult-like status, with bootleg video recordings of the channel being traded like illegal contraband. Bizarrely, one of the most popular shows broadcast was a children's program known as Miss Polly's Storytime. The show aired weekly, typically featuring nursery rhymes, traditional English folk tales, and sing-alongs that had worked their way into becoming part of many families' routines. Parents would often leave their children watching while they prepared tea or tended to housework, trusting Miss Polly to provide harmless entertainment. A particular broadcast in June 1995, just 8 months after the channel's launch, however, was anything but harmless. What began as any other episode quickly spiraled into infamy, linked to over 30 cases of extreme psychological and physical distress. The small town of Winchcombe, known for its cobbled streets and historic charm, became the epicenter of what would later be referred to as the Green Ribbon broadcast. At first glance, the episode seemed no different from any other. Miss Polly, the show's host, wore her signature bright colours, her hands on her hips, smiling as she began to recite the story of the Green Ribbon, a folk tale about a young girl who kept a ribbon tied around her neck. What you're about to hear is the actual audio from the show on that day, as told by Miss Polly herself.
As the story goes, Eleanor was given a long green ribbon by her father, who tied it around her neck. As she grew older, she never took the ribbon off, and one day fell in love with a kind but curious man named Thomas. On the night of their wedding, as they danced beneath the glow of a harvest moon, he finally asked her about the ribbon. Her face darkened, her smile faded. He must never touch it. Months passed, and Thomas grew increasingly obsessed with the ribbon. One night, unable to resist any longer, he laid and waited until Eleanor was asleep. Slowly, he reached across her hand, untied the ribbon. The moment the knot came undone, Eleanor's head fell cleanly from her body, rolling to the floor in a soft thud. Her eyes remained open, her lips forming one final whisper. "Why, Mac?"
Something was off. The locals who watched this broadcast reported feeling uneasy, as if somehow the images on the screen were watching them. Subtle, almost imperceptible changes in Miss Polly's demeanour were noted, her smile lingering too long, her eyes darting to the corner of the frame as though she were transfixed by. 2 weeks after the broadcast, researchers managed to recover the original tape. What they found couldn't be explained. Hidden within the cheerful visuals were subliminal images, ancient glyphs, and grotesque, otherworldly figures. These frames were visible only through frame-by-frame analysis, each lasting less than a fraction of a second. broadcasts were swift and horrifying. Reports began to surface of viewers experiencing intense dizziness, bouts of uncontrollable laughter, and hallucinations of shadowy figures wearing green. Some claimed to hear Miss Polly's voice, whispering their names at night, beckoning them to join the dance. Winchcombe was locked down. Within days, the symptoms had escalated. The affected individuals started shedding their skin in long, ribbon-like strips. There was no medical explanation. Then there was Miss Polly herself, the host whose cheerful demeanour had been a staple of BTV3 for almost a year. She disappeared without a trace. Her home was found abandoned, her belongings left untouched. After the Green Ribbon broadcast, BTV3 was shut down with immediate effect, and the project was never relaunched. A few weeks after the closure, recordings from local radio frequencies began to emerge. These were nothing but legends, whispers amongst communities, until the internet made sharing such clips a possibility.
In it, I'm using a power and the storage charge, but again, I can't explain it.
Winchcombe was eventually officially released from its lockdown in 1998, when the last known sufferer from the incident was finally laid to rest. But to this day, the broadcast remains an unsolved mystery. The original tape was lost after the glyphs were discovered, but rumours persist of bootleg copies circulating on the dark web from home recordings that have since been uploaded for a wider audience to view. Those brave enough to watch them claim to experience strange phenomena, faint whispers in the dark, a tightening sensation around their necks, and the inescapable feeling of being watched. The following clips were uploaded by those who have seen the video since its broadcast. Viewer discretion may be advised.
So first night after watching it, I woke up around, I think it was 3 a.m. My room is completely dark, but there is this smell, this horrible, it's hard to explain, it's like flowers that have been left to rot. Sickly sweet and sour at the same time. It was everywhere. Then it got weirder. Then I noticed the ribbons. They're like long, green, and almost slimy. They looked like they were alive. They were crawling up the walls, moving like snakes. And then there were the figures that were standing at the foot of my bed, tall, shadowy, with these weird jerky movements like their bodies weren't their own. Her voice, it was Miss Polly. And she's whispering something, but it wasn't English or not any language that I know. It's every night. If you're thinking of watching the tape, don't. Whatever it is, whatever she is, she's not just on the tape or the video. She's here.
It started the morning after I watched it. I cut something in the corner of my eye, literally in the middle of the bathroom sink, but when I turned to look at it, it was gone. Just found out it was gone. It wasn't just the mirrors. It was anything with a sort of shiny, reflective material. The toaster, the kettle, even the TV screen when it was off. And soon her, Miss Polly, her face, staring back at me. But it's not light. Her eyes are black, not dark, but black. Like holes in her face, pulling everything into them. mouth and about how it moves, but I can't hear what she was saying. It's like she was trying to speak to me, but the words are stuck.
I've tried to move on. It's been years since I saw that the year, and I'm still haunted. I've lost friends, jobs, everything because of it. People think I'm crazy, but they don't understand. They don't feel what I felt.
Despite people claiming to watch the broadcast, there have been no further known deaths because of it. So, beware the green ribbon. Once Miss Polly finds you, she never seems to let you go.